So sometimes I get super greedy with modifying my machines. Let me show you a quick cameo of just a couple new changes I made to the Strive seated row and the Strive plate loaded pull down. What I did was I added a fifth loading point. So I added an end range on both. Hard to see. So now there's 5 loading points. Playing around with both machines like a month or two ago, I'm like, man, this feels good, but it feels like I still almost want to put a band at the end of the machine. So what would it be like if I loaded the end range? Like, where in the motion path of a pull down of a seated row, of a high row, do the lats truly drop off and get super weak? That's the question, because I found loading the end, it almost on both machines, it seems like the pull down even more so than the seated row, but both machines, it got too hard too quickly. It didn't give me a drop. Like, it was getting too hard too quickly. What if I could delay that load to the last 1/6 or 1/7 or 1/8 of the movement? Like, really wait until right at the end, where I'm trying to fully shorten my lats. Like, what would that be like? So that's what I'm experimenting with these two machines. I modified these before. Many of my other plate load Strive Prime pieces I overloaded the beginning even more with the extra horn I added. And I absolutely know, playing around with that, it makes a massive difference. Massive difference. So the question is, will it make a difference if I add another loading point at the very end? All right, we're going to start with the pull down. So the more that you use Strive or Prime plate loaded pieces, as you evolve as a lifter, again, I don't know how many people actually do this, the more you realize it's really actually not ideal or optimal, quote unquote, to put all the load on one horn. It's really better to distribute the load to different horns, honestly. Again, you see a lot of professional bodybuilders that don't even know that. They just do whatever. Again, it works. Doesn't make it like perfect ideal, but it still works. Which is why, honestly, I like the plate load more than the selectorized in almost every case, because the selectorized, you're just locked into a certain load pattern based on the cam shape. But anyways, look at the plate loader pull down. Obviously, we were trying to understand and appreciate the torque moment arm at different positions of the movement, which is really just the weight or load multiplied by the horizontal distance from the pivot axis. It's not super hard math or physics, but it's going to take a little bit of nuance to figure that out. I mean, we can take some hard science, but I want to play around with this. Look at this. This is a cool little modification I made. You can see from this position, look at where the load is in relation to gravity, in relation to 90 degrees at different loads. But definitely makes a difference. Honestly, gives you a little bit of a band feel. So check out, this is the row machine. So we're going to start out with all the load at the very end of my added horn. So what I'm noticing right away is the load there is honestly forcing me to shorten all the way, like that last 1.5 to 2 inches of just full shortening and contraction, which you don't necessarily really get when you just add it to the number 1 on the original Strive. Kind of just contrasting it with the original end horn, the original number 1. Now it's a mixture. Again, I'm playing around. It's going to take some time. I'm going to do some math to calculate the moment torque arms at each position. But more than the math, I want to understand that in relation, in conjunction with your body's own physiology and natural strength curve, to understand where is optimal or / perfect. So the straight side view can help you appreciate even more the horizontal distance from the axis, as well as the load's relation to gravity or 90 degrees perpendicular. And it really helps you appreciate, obviously it's going to depend on your arm length. Definitely feel difference. Honestly, to me, it feels like many of those Medic selectorized machines where the strength curve is such that it ramps up at the very end of the movement and almost forces you to push through and contract. That's kind of what it feels like. Like a selectorized Medic's chest press or pull down, where is a little bit of ramped up right at the very end. So playing with it just for the first time, this is going to take a lot more time to perfect. But 25% of the weight at that end range that I added the horn, 10% at the original end horn, and then 32% at the original beginning, and 32% at my, the very beginning. That's kind of what feels phenomenal right now. Like, it totally feels like it matches the strength curve of my lats. So, but we're going to test this. I'm going to test this extensively on both of these machines, other machines as well, and see if we can get it down. We can use some math and some science, calculating the torque, the horizontal distance from the pivot, and where the load is heavy and light, and come up with an exact equation to see. We all know the lats are, you know, very much a bell-shaped, kind of weak, strong, and then weak at the very end. So bell curve, you know. So we've always wanted a descending curve, but sometimes they're too descending or too ascending. So what's the exact science? Like, how do we map out exactly how to create a machine with a torque arm that matches that? And that's what I'm going to answer. Give me some time, but that's what's the beauty of this. This is my lab. Like, I'm not afraid to play around and try stuff for a while. If I don't like it, I'll just cut it off. But for now, and honestly, I definitely feel. I want to show you guys. This is almost always a process of trial and error. Very rarely do I get it right or perfect the first time. The case in point, let me show you. Handles on this first generation plate loaded Strive pull down. Doing this totally, it just took me using it first time to realize this handle is welded off. So when I was actually welding these with a welder yesterday, I just had in my head I wanted to add my super lat grip here. You can see this is still on. Did not like it, so I just cut it off here, and I'll have to cut it off here. And I have to go back to the drawing board because it didn't work out. You know, and that's the thing. Like, you never know until you try. This whole process. Before I stop this video, I got to show you one of my pullovers, just something I played around with. It takes me some time, but I've been messing around with these pullovers. It often takes me like a year or two of just playing around with it and tweaking it and going back to it with new knowledge to see maybe I can improve things a little bit. Totally perfected these horns. This is the Power Plus pullover. I have to show you a different video. I may even add one more. I'm going to show you my modified Panada remake handles just for kicks. So I've been playing around with this machine for a while. But just kind of playing around with it a couple weeks ago, I realized I could improve this even more. So let me show you. So these handles I added a couple months ago, and they're totally freaking perfect. Because I'm in the right amount of supination. I'm getting crazy stretch and crazy contraction at the end. Now look at these handles I just added yesterday. Look at this. I want you to look at my hand position. I'm going to have to change the camera angle. But look at my hand position when I end the movement. I'll show you in a second. Check this out. Look at my hand position when I come down. Does that remind you of anything? Look at this. This is exactly how your hands would be if you were doing a standing cable pullover. So I'm finishing in that position. So it's just absolutely freaking phenomenal. And I've got these original grips here too that enhance the stretch. But these are just the perfect angle. If I put them in any further, it hit my waist. If I put them any further out, I mean, it's just perfect. So after using the Panada remake, look at, I cut off the original modification I made to this first generation aluminum can knotless pullover. I just cut it off because after I actually perfected this, I realized I was about 1.5 inches off. So I cut the original handles and angled them slightly less supination and slightly more an external rotation. Sometimes the frustrating, sometimes the fun part, but sometimes the frustrating thing, because it's like, when am I going to be done with this? Like, look at, I didn't even show you my Magnum. Like, I was using my Magnum the other day, and it was like, man, with the way I've modified the handles and the strength curve, like, where would my hands want to be? They would optimize upper and lower and, you know, lat activation at a certain height of the seat. So you'll see a lot of the way I design my handles is dependent on, at least with a row machine, the lowest seat height, where do my hands want to be to stimulate lats? The middle seat height, where do my hands want to be to stimulate my lats or upper back, or whatever you want to stimulate, or rhomboids or rear delts? And highest seat position, where do my hands want to be? That's kind of how I'll show you a different time. Three-dimensional handles. So these bottom ones are just total complete money. Check out this. I did an overhand, a semi-pronated super lat grip. First time I've ever done it. It's unbelievable. I'm going to add it to my Atlantis. It's going on there next time Weller comes. But check out the angle of these handles. Very unique. It's going to require a separate video. Obviously, I gotta you know, paint these and just finish it. But man, anyways, you never know. Done with my rant. You'll see more of that stuff later. But yeah. The question of this video, with the Strive plate loaded pull down and the Strive plate loaded seated row, 5 loading points along that torque arm. What is where is it optimal to stimulate your lats and upper back, whatever you're doing,
where is it optimal to have the weight and how much? That's what we're going to figure out.
Because I'm telling you, the 3 loading points is just not enough. It's just not enough. Obviously, there's a high learning curve. This may not be for everybody, but this is the 1% of the 1% that play around this. Just for kicks, let me show you what I did with the torque arm of my Panada original. You got to check the handle. The handle. This thing is so money. But look at the torque arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did this over and over and over, and I'm like, 3 loading points is not enough. 4 is good, almost perfect, but it needed a 5th to figure out the exact load. That isn't the case with every machine, but again, this is not like your average freaking gym. I'm not looking to just like make something usable. I'm looking at the 1% of the 1% to try to nail it down to an exact science and percentage. You know, this is only back machines. We can do legs, shoulders, arms, other things, but particularly with back, there's much more nuance to this stuff with back machines. People think I'm crazy. I don't really care. You guys come out to my gym. Anybody with any gym equipment IQ or bodybuilding IQ or anatomy physiology IQ, and you would be floored. I mean, this is not me gloating on myself. This is just knowing, like, having been around. This isn't just me making crap up. Anyways, tell me what you guys think. Obviously, this is not for average gym goers. This is gym equipment nerds of gym equipment nerds, and I mean, I don't care. It is what it is. But you're not going to find this content anywhere else because nobody else does what I do. It's just the way it is. And we're going to learn just because I'm willing to take the risk, and we're going to try it out and see exactly what percentage of load should be in what loading point along the that torque arm.